Hi everybody, it's Sherry. Welcome to the Rustic South. I hope you're enjoying your day. If you're new, welcome to the Rustic South. If you're returning, thank you so much. We have a couple of crafts today. The first one will be using this Walmart bag that I got in the mail. I thought maybe there was something I kind of wanted to do. I wanted to do it out of cardboard, but I think a lot of people don't really care for messing around with cutting cardboard, so I decided to make it out of this bag. So I'm going to take the bag, I'm going to go in 2.5 inches from the bottom and angle my ruler up to the top corner. And I'm going to make a line because I want to make this bag narrower on the bottom and wider on the top. So I'm marking 2.5 inches on the bottom, and we're drawing the line. Then we're going to cut off the extra that we don't need. We'll be doing some gluing here, some painting, adding some embellishments. We'll be turning the bag inside out, so we won't be seeing any seams on this bag. You could glue it with the seams on the outside if you want. I opted not to do that. There is a rip you can see in this bag from me playing around with it, but that's okay because now I'm making a patch to put on it. I don't officially glue the rip closed because I don't want it closed. I end up using it as an enhancement on the outside of the bag on the end. But I did not want the hole to be seen all the way through because I didn't paint the inside of this bag, which in hindsight, I'm going to tell you guys you probably should paint it at least halfway down or maybe all the way down on the inside, or use coffee stain on the inside if you want to use coffee stain instead of glue, instead of paint. So yeah, that's my hindsight opinion, is that you should paint the inside and the outside. Unless you're going to stuff it with, like moss and stuff like that, then yeah, don't worry about it. I would paint it down maybe about a quarter way or whatever if you're going to cover it all up. But I didn't necessarily stuff it with that kind of stuff, at least not yet. So we're going to turn the this bag is like it doesn't have any of that like weird stuffing in it, but it has a couple of layers. So I did turn it once to see what it looked like. And then I decided that I wanted to box the corners, if you will, kind of make it a standable bag or a standable, I don't really know what you want to call this, a standable vessel of sorts. So here's where I'm messing with that rip that's there, but now I'm deciding whether I want to, how I want to do the bottom so it will stand on its own, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't stand. You could hang it if you wanted to, which was my original intent, was to hang it, but I did end up standing it up for now. Eventually, I think I'm going to take a piece of wire and put it on the top and hang it from like a hook. But at this moment I did not. So here I turned it back to the right side out. I'm going to box these corners. So what I do is I just, on the side, I flatten the corner and fold it up so that the seam that I'm folding matches with the side seam. Right? And then you're just going to glue that triangle down, matching up the side seams. Okay, and it was, I think, a 1.5 inch fold from the point to the part where I folded it. So do that on both sides. That way it will give your bottom of your bag more structure. So it could freestand. So turn the other side over, do the same thing on the other side. Here's where I'm measuring it. Measures like an 1.5 inches. Or if you want, you could put a bag of sand in the bottom of it if you wanted to. You could just put sand in it, some rocks, something, whatever, something like that if you want. It's up to you, totally. So mine does not exactly turn out to stand perfect, but you know what? That's okay because on my channel I don't teach perfect is the way to go, because Farmhouse, you know, primitive of sorts, right? The look is not perfect, right? So it's okay. I don't mind. It really doesn't matter to me that it's not going to be a perfect bag. Okay, so I go with the imperfections and I'm fine with it. If I have to put something heavy in the bottom of it, then so be it. So I turn it inside out, and this is your masterpiece. I love to recycle stuff. I've been having this bag sit around for about 3 weeks now. I've been looking at it, staring at it. And yeah, like I was wanting to make this out of cardboard. But I don't think you guys really care for crafts like that, so I decided to do it with this. So see how it kind of leans to one side? You know what? I'm fine. I don't care. I'm fine with that. It is what it is. It stands up just fine. All right, so here are the embellishments I picked to put on this, is these 3 stars. So I'm going to paint them black with the, you know, the good old apple barrel black paint. I always think I'm going to rub it on, but that just ends up being longer than it needs to be. So yeah, so I made mine black. You could make them brown. Now I don't know why I didn't do brown. I guess because I wanted to put cinnamon on the outside of this. In the end, while they're still wet, I mean, these stars do soak up the paint quite fast, so you may have to put a little extra paint on there. I sprinkle on cinnamon before it dries, okay? And then I'm going to, what you can do, you can take them outside and spray them with sealer, okay? That holds the cinnamon on and kind of turns it that rust into that rust look, okay? Or if you have hairspray, here's the cinnamon, and I'm going to sprinkle it on. Or if you have hairspray, if you can't go outside, you don't want to go outside, if you don't have anywhere you can spray stuff, I would use hairspray. Okay, maybe get some cheap hairspray from the Dollar Tree, which I guess they have it, I'm not sure. And sprinkle and spray that on there really well to get the cinnamon to stick. Or you could just use glue too. You could, you know, do the usual glue cinnamon grunge look on it, right? If you've done that before. So now I'm going to paint the bag this rusty red color. Not for Valentine's Day, I just like red, so I was contemplating blue, red. I was actually contemplating green. Whatever color floats your boat, go for it. And you don't have to cover it. I wouldn't worry about covering it. It's up to you on the coverage, because I'm going to use coffee stain on the outside of this, so it's going to darken that red up. And it does stiffen it a little bit. It doesn't stiffen as much as I wanted it to. Excuse me, but it does make the red darker. So this is just before the coffee staining. And there are the stars. They're now dry. They've been sprayed. Okay, so they're black with cinnamon sprinkled on them. You could also do the cinnamon on the outside of this bag if you wish. Now, I did put cinnamon in my coffee stain this time. I did have one of you lovely subscribers mention to me about putting the cinnamon in there. I don't always put it in there. Sometimes I do. It just, I don't know. It varies. So I did put it in there this time because it does leave that, like, a little dirty look on there, you know, little specks around here and there. And yes, it adds total, you know, some dimension, some texture on there. And it, sometimes you just want it that way and sometimes you just don't. So you could add cinnamon to your coffee stain. I don't think you'll see it, you'll be able to see it on the screen, but, and what I do is I paint this on, like one side, and then I turn the hairdryer on, and I turn the hairdryer on high hot, so that it will dried faster and hopefully make it stiffer. Okay. And I see I did use that rip to my advantage. I kind of bent it open a little bit. Again, you can't see all the way through the bag, but it gives it just a little something extra on the front. I kind of liked it, so I left it. Just kind of trying to show you a close up there. I did coffee stain the brown that's peeking through there. So if you want it, you could always add a little more coffee, the granular coffee to your stain if you want it to stain it dark. And here I'm going to use, to make a tag, I'm going to coffee stain the tag, which in the end you really end up don't seeing it too much because I did end up ripping the sides off. It seemed a little obnoxiously large after I put the fabric on the top of it. But the tag turns out awesome. The coffee stain on the tag turned out awesome, but then you really can't see it because I end up gluing the, see, look, I end up gluing the tag on the top of it, and I end up ripping like all of the edge off, so it really didn't it really didn't matter much, is what I'm trying to say. So now I'm taking some of my rusty safety pins, and pinning that to the tag. And the fabric tag is some fabric that I have that I know you guys have seen if you're a regular, that I just wrote the word home on. I didn't really want to stamp it again. I stamp a lot of stuff on here. So sometimes I just want to change it up. So I decided to just write it with a permanent marker this time. Now you see me putting this on here, but I end up not hanging it. I end up taking that, actually I ripped that whole thing off, that whole end off there. So, as crafters, we go back and forth and this and yes and no and maybe and you rip something and you tear it up and you grunge it and you over grunge it, and it's like, so funny. I did do both sides, but you really don't need to. I think I did. No, I didn't do both sides. It's just not stained all the way on the other side. So now we're going to glue those on. Now these stars I got at Hobby Lobby. They were on clearance. I still think they have them, but I found like 5 or 6 bags of these one time when they were on clearance. So I have several of these. You can always also cut these out of cardboard if you can't find what you're looking for. Again, I'm not sure how many of you like cardboard. I don't mind messing with cardboard. It can be a little hard on the hand sometimes, depending how thick it is. Speaking of cardboard, we're going to now make a heart cardboard for the other side of this bag. Okay. So I had a couple different things in mind for the other side. I just freehanded a heart. And I cut it out and then I painted it. I painted the same color as I did these stars. Painted it black and then I put cinnamon all over the top of it and sprayed it. And then I did wrap some wire. So I got out my rusty wire and I wrapped some wire on it. Give it a little more dimension. You could always make it fabric, right? That was one thing I was contemplating, was making the heart fabric. So you could always glue some fabric onto the top of this. You could stamp letters on it, which was another thing that I was contemplating doing, was stamping words or something on it, or you could do some rub-on transfers on it, maybe. Make it cream. And then you could do some rub-on transfers. So yeah, the possibilities are endless because you're going to make this your own project. So see, I had made that other heart there and I stamped the word family on it, but I just didn't like them together or on the red. The red and the white seemed to be more like a Valentine's Day, and that's not what I was going for. So I decided the white one did not go. So it made its way into someplace else in the house. So I'm just wrapping some wire around the top to give it a little dimension. You do you. You maybe do lace. If you like messy bows, go for the messy bow. Again, stamping letters on it, words on it, rub-on transfers. Whatever your heart's desire is. If you don't do a heart on this side, maybe do a big star, or maybe paint a star on the bag instead of doing something like this. I just wanted to make the bag two-sided. So if I wanted to change it up, I had the ability to do so. So, options are always good. Now here I punch holes on the other side because I'm going to stick rusty wire through there in order to attach it to the bag. But I do end up having to glue it because it is heavy. Kind of heavy because the wire hanging on it and the cardboard. So I do end up having to glue the heart. I think I did it in 2 places. So poke a couple holes through there, cut yourself a piece of rusty wire. And hey, if you're new here, welcome to the Rustic South. I hope you're loving the video. If you would, it would be awesome if you leave me a comment, hit subscribe, would be super helpful for the channel. Or give me a thumbs up. It helps to get my videos out there to other potential viewers. And I hope you're having a great day today. And there it is. I ended up putting some twine around the bottom of it. I wrapped it around 3 or 4 times on the bottom. Again, I thought it just added a little more dimension to the bottom of the bag. And see, there's the tag. I end up ripping like all the edge off of it, basically. And there it is with the other stuff that we've been making for Valentine's Day. Again, this is not a Valentine's Day bag, but since it is in the red family, it could certainly work during Valentine's Day. So here is project number 2. So we're going to be using a ball glass, I think it's a 2-cup jar. The Espresso by Rust-Oleum and Black by Rust-Oleum. One of these large wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. Some brown paint. And you saw that metal thing that looked like a large soda cap. And the lid to the jar. Okay. So those are the things you're going to need for this craft. We're going to make a candle holder and some fabric. You're kind of in whatever embellishments you want to put on there, right? So I do take the burnt umber and okay, so first there's a hole in this round. Okay, so I covered it up and I left the extra filling on there, if you will. I don't like saying that word. It just sometimes it sounds a little weird on video. So, that stuff you fill holes with, okay? So I left the extra on there. Well, of course, it doesn't take paint very well, and it didn't look the way I wanted it to look. So I got out the hairdryer, and I was drying the paint, and I decided to use it to heat up the hole filler stuff and scrape it off, because it was not taking the paint the way I wanted it to, and nor do I want to see that big white blotch there, okay? So I used the hairdryer to warm it up, and then I scraped it off. Okay, so if you're going to be excessive on the hole filler stuff, like I did, I would scrape it off, because it just will not take paint. It's like crazy maddening me. So I ended up having to do it a couple times, and I had to go over it a couple more times to, yeah, then sand it to try to get that glue off, not that glue, that stuff off of there. Any residue and so forth, and I had to stain it a couple of extra times. So take my word for it, and maybe you already know this, do not be excessive with that stuff. Scrape off the extra. I leave it there thinking it will help fill the hole better, but it really is just more work in the end. So if you do like I did, fix it. Fix it. By taking all the extra off first before you paint it, and then, or stain it, and then stain it. Yeah, so I'm just sanding off the sides there a little bit to, you know, make it less perfect. And the top. And then we're going to take that wood round, and we're going to screw it to the grunged metal thing that metal thing right there, that big round one. We're going to screw it to that. Now I did screw it to that from the bottom. And some of you are probably going to be like, why would you do that? It's going to scratch stuff. So what you can do if you want is you could put a piece of felt on the bottom of it. I did not. You could slightly bend it a little bit if you wanted to, so that the screw itself doesn't, you know, doesn't scratch anything. But I didn't do it. I used a flathead screw. Okay, so it did recess some, right? It doesn't wobble when it sits or anything. So I mean, the screw is not that big, right? You know, make sure your screw is long enough, but to go through, but not all the way through the top of the wood round. It just needs to go about halfway in. And I opted not to glue it because I felt like sometimes the gluing stuff doesn't work that well. But I mean, the chances of you moving it a lot is probably not really going to be that great. So it's up to your preference if you want to screw it on or glue it on. Okay. But I did screw it on. And then we're going to also screw on see, there it is in the bottom. And then we're going to be screwing on this middle part of this lid, but make sure you put the two pieces together before you screw it on. No, I did not do that, but I just want to make sure that nobody does that. One thing I didn't screw this, so I did have a screw though, but I had this tack, so I decided to use the tack. I felt like it was easier to, I don't know, hammer it in opposing to screwing something in. Either way, it's not very long, so your little fingers are like right there. But it worked, and I didn't bang my finger or anything else. So I did hammer that on, and then you can screw your ball jar onto the top of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some homespun and some coffee stained tea towel and wrap it around the bottom of the jar itself, not the lid that's screwed on. I guess you could do the lid too, but we rusted up the lid so that if you saw it, it didn't matter. So I decided to put it on the jar itself. And then I just took one of my rusty stars and a rusty clothespin, and I pinned it to the top there. Okay, so this section here I did not record because I actually had this pre-made. What I did was I took a piece of cardboard, wrapped it around the bottom of the tea light that you're going to use, glue the ends together, and then do a grunge on it. That's all you do, right? So that the tea light fits right in there. And I do not glue this in. I just set it in there. Again, because you're not going to be moving this around very much. Again, it's glass, so you're not going to be like jerking it around. So, okay. So if you need me to help you with that, drop me a comment and I'll see what I can do. But it's real simple to make that little tea light holder there. Okay, I hope you love the video. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope I see you shortly in my next video. Have a great weekend and week. Bye.